The only thing I wanted for you, Gypsy, was nothing negative, nothing bad. It was just for you to use your platform for good. This will actually be my last Gypsy video because after this, I'm gonna stop. Because it's a waste of my time. It's like talking to a child. You know what I mean? Because in none of my videos did I say anything offensive to you whatsoever.
Oh, honey, I am so not threatened by you. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. You're just mad because I have a Chad.
The truth unveiled. Gypsy-Rose Blanchard. She made headlines, documentaries, and interviews about her controversial role in her mother's murder. She painted herself as a victim of both her mother's abuse and the prison system, vowing that once she was out, she would use her platform for good. She claimed she would advocate for inmates, bring attention to their struggles, and be a voice for those who couldn't speak up. But is that the truth? Well, not everyone is buying her reformation story. You see, we've been investigating her claims, and let me tell you, multiple sources, including one of her ex-prison mates, have come forward to expose the real Gypsy-Rose Blanchard. And it's far from the innocent, reformed woman she presents. Nadtha Walker, a TikToker who was once close to Gypsy, recently came forward exposing the messages Gypsy sent her after blowing up on social media. The TikToker, who speaks openly about recovery and personal growth, had been discussing her life alongside Gypsy's story. And guess what? Gypsy wasn't too happy about it. In an attempt to shut down the conversation, Gypsy slid into the TikToker's DMs with an accusatory message. She wrote, "I know you've been making videos about me, and you're mad because I got out and blew up and you didn't." This one sentence says it all. Gypsy is now obsessed with her fame and success, as if her celebrity status somehow justifies her actions. But it doesn't stop there. Gypsy continues in her message, "I am not gonna write a lot on here so you can use it against me, but whatever friendship we had is dead, and what I do with my life is my business."
It's Gypsy-Rose Benson. Have you lost your rabbits? ASS Mom. So there's a creator on here that's been speaking about recovery and basically her life, along with things about Gypsy-Rose. But I haven't seen her say bad things about Gypsy, even though Gypsy-Rose is not a good person. She said, "I'm not going to write a lot on here so you can use it against me." Bookie, you have written enough right here. This is enough, Bookie. Okay? Enough. You got out and blew up, and now everybody is pointing out everything that you've done. That's all been a lie, and the fact that the media has been playing into that. Is that what you're proud of, Bookie? You should be ashamed of yourself. Gypsy-Rose Benson, you should be ashamed of your doggone self.
This right here reveals the truth behind Gypsy's facade. Her concern isn't about helping others. It's about protecting herself and her newfound fame. The TikToker didn't stay silent after receiving Gypsy's message. Instead, she went public with interaction, exposing Gypsy's manipulative tactics. The TikToker stated clearly in her response, "I never said anything bad about Gypsy, but she is not a good person."
The thing I wanted for you, Gypsy, was nothing negative, nothing bad. It was just for you to use your platform for good. In none of my videos did I say anything offensive to you whatsoever. Honestly, friendship means that you care about the direction a person is going. And you said our friendship is dead, but we never really had one to begin with because we were just acquaintances. The media portrays people as something that they're not all the time. And I guess I got my real first glimpse of what that looked like with the whole Gypsy-Rose shenanigans. You guys are supporting somebody who's a joke. You're supporting someone who has absolutely no interest in you whatsoever but to take your money and to hear your, what's the word I'm looking for? Praise. Who's completely self-absorbed. Who was old enough and had so many opportunities to get away. And I don't even know what the system was thinking. I really don't, because like I said, if we're going to release her, then why are we not releasing other women that are in there? She is not who you think she is.
She went on to reveal that Gypsy has lied to the public, profiting off her story while disregarding the very people she promised to help. She continued and described her experience as talking to a child, stating that she had no intention of speaking negatively about Gypsy, but was frustrated by Gypsy's immaturity and refusal to take responsibility of her actions. The TikToker even called Gypsy out for how she's continued to manipulate the media, stating, "You guys are supporting somebody who's a joke. You're supporting someone who has absolutely no interest in you whatsoever, but to take your money and hear your praise."
And yet people worship her. So for all her defenders that are going to get on here and blow my comments up, I'm going to turn those off. because that's not what I'm here for. I like to bring awareness to things. And the awareness is that you guys watched a movie and you thought, oh my gosh, this poor little girl, and believed everything that they fed you. Because you don't know her. Gypsy knew at the end exactly what was happening. Honestly, she needs therapy. And truthfully, she probably needed a re-entry program herself that taught her a different way of life. But she didn't get that. And you know why? Because DOC is a joke. They literally call it lesbian day camp, because that's the equivalent of what it is. You'll go in there and know some things and come out knowing 10 times more. You don't go in there and come out a better person unless you actually put the work in yourself, and not a lot of people do that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because nothing we say or do is going to make a change in Gypsy. It's something that she's going to have to learn on her own. Pray for her. If you're really that invested, and you know, we should pray regardless, but and you really care for her that much, then pray for her, because she's not headed in a good direction. But you're better off investing in somebody who doesn't look at you like a dollar sign. I'm sure at some point this whole, maybe it's been a year or two, it'll all be blown over and done with. But guys, don't believe everything that the media brings to you and says to you about a person.
These words cut to the heart of the issue. Gypsy is using her tragic backstory as a tool for profit, not advocacy. But that's not all. Rachel also exposed Gypsy's money-making scheme during their time together. They ran a TikTok account together, designed to build up Gypsy's following and give her a platform for her advocacy after the release. But what happened next? Gypsy told Rachel to stop posting. Why? Because, as Gypsy put it, the funds don't matter. It's all about securing the bag. Let's let that sink in for a minute. Gypsy, who promised to use her platform to advocate for inmates, dismissed the very people who supported her through her parole's hearings. Those same funds were writing letters to the parole board, sending donations and supporting Gypsy in every possible way. Yet, once Gypsy secured her freedom, she made it clear to Rachel that those funds were no longer important. She just wanted the money. Rachel, who had become close with Gypsy's fan base, was hurt by this revelation. She had been sending Gypsy money from her TikTok earnings, helping Gypsy through birthday donations and other gifts, all while Gypsy was behind bars. But Gypsy's attitude made one thing clear. She was using these people, not advocating for them.
Because she told me she did not need help. That she's fine. That's not true at all. You can get help in prison. And especially the prison that we went to, because I'm doing good. I took prison for what it was, and I did good. It teaches you stability. She even got in trouble for tricking men while she was...
While the TikToker's expose was shocking, it was just the beginning. Gypsy-Rose Blanchard's manipulative behavior wasn't an isolated incident. As more people who knew Gypsy in prison began speaking out, a much darker narrative emerged. Instead of being an advocate for change, Gypsy has been focused solely on personal gain and fame. One of the first to speak up was Cassandra, a former inmate who served time with Gypsy. Cassandra described Gypsy as a master manipulator from the moment she entered the prison system. Initially, Gypsy played the role of the innocent victim, evoking sympathy from both inmates and prison staff. But as time went on, her true intentions became clear. Gypsy wasn't interested in advocating for fellow inmates or using her experience to raise awareness about the issues in the prison system. Instead, she thrived on attention she received from outside prison walls. According to Cassandra, Gypsy loved to boast about the letters and gifts she received from her supporters. She was always talking about her fans. Cassandra revealed she knew how to work the system, and she loved the attention. Instead of focusing on rehabilitation or inmate advocacy, Gypsy was obsessed with building her brand and maximizing her fame. Cassandra even recalled a conversation with Gypsy, where Gypsy admitted, "People love a good sob story. I've got this whole thing figured out." This chilling statement revealed Gypsy's true mindset. She was more concerned with manipulating the public than helping others.
That was correct. Now let me touch base on it. Number one, manipulator. Number two, I was in prison with her, okay? And when I tell you, when she came into prison, how can I explain this? She ate up any attention. She was flirting with the girls. She was laughing all the time. Always just ate up the attention so freaking much. She was so immature. She loved it. Girls were fighting over her. She was a thought. She was a little thought. That makes sense. I really was concerned because I thought for sure, girls were going to take her down through there. I know how girls are when you go to prison. These girls are looking for fresh meat as soon as you get off the bus. And boy, she fell right into it all. She was big about boasting about how many people were writing her. She ended up going to Chillicothe, but needless to say,
What was even more telling was how Gypsy acted when the guards and prison officials were around. In front of them, she played the role of the sweet, innocent victim who needed protection. But behind closed doors, her real personality came out. Miss Moon described how Gypsy could be cunning, playing people against each other and using her story to gain advantages. She knew exactly how to play the game. Miss Moon explained. She wasn't the naive little girl people think she was. Miss Moon also raised a point that many others have echoed. Gypsy's role in her mother's murder may have been more significant than she let on. I wouldn't be surprised if she had a bigger part in it than what she's admitted, Miss Moon stated. This insight is crucial as it challenges the widely accepted narrative of Gypsy as a victim. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was never truly interested in advocating for inmates or using her platform for good. She promised to be a voice for the voiceless, but once the cameras were on her, Gypsy's promises vanished.
I've seen some comments saying that she never really got attention and she only got attention from her mother, but I hate to say that, but that's wrong because she's got so much attention. She got trips to Disney World. She got houses. She's got so much attention that it's sickening if you think about it. Look at all the videos of attention that she was getting, okay? She got tons of attention for being sick, remember? For being something wrong with her. She got tons of attention. I don't think it was the lack of attention. I think her mom gave her lots of attention. She got tons of attention. I think that it was the reason why she acted like that when she got to prison is because the lack of being socialized with kids her age or her age period, or knowing how to act other than her game, her and her mom's game of fooling people, manipulating people, of acting sick.
This leads us to the biggest part of Gypsy's game plan. Her manipulation of the media. Gypsy knew exactly how to work the system, playing the tragic victim card to secure interviews, book deals, and even docuseries. She's managed to turn her story into a brand, capitalizing on her traumatic past for personal gain. And the media? Well, they've been more than willing to help her along the way. But we're here to ask, at what cost? Gypsy has completely abandoned the inmates she promised to advocate for, all while lining her pockets with the money she's made off her tragic story. This isn't about justice anymore, it's about fame and fortune. One of the most telling moments came when Gypsy's ex-best friend Rachel exposed how Gypsy manipulated the parole board, playing the sympathy card to gain early release. And let's not forget how Gypsy has managed to spin her narrative in interviews. She consistently downplays her responsibility in her mother's murder, shifting the focus back to her traumatic upbringing. It's time we stop viewing Gypsy Rose Blanchard as a victim.
How did prison change you?
Prison actually was very helpful for me. I always say that if I didn't go to prison, I don't think that I would have acclimated to the outside world as easily as I have now.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
so your life was less the world than prison.
You said you were more free in prison.
Yes,
the freest you'd ever felt was the first day you were in prison, which tells you a little bit about the mindset.
So where does that leave us? From her manipulative behavior in prison to her abandonment of those who supported her. It's clear that Gypsy has been lying about her intentions all along. She's just someone who used her tragic past to climb her way to fame. It's time to stop romanticizing Gypsy Rose Blanchard. The real story here isn't one of reformation and advocacy. It's a story of manipulation, deceit, and fame. Gypsy has turned her back on the people she promised to help, and it's time we stop letting her manipulate the narrative. Gypsy may be free, but she's far from innocent.